Once again, we find ourselves descending on the most decadent city in the world, New Orleans, which really needs no introduction. With its stunning balcony-lined dolled-up streets, lively cafes, and music-soaked atmospheres, New Orleans seems to do everything just a bit louder and more colorful than everywhere else. This is a city that truly never stops the party, where everyone is welcome, and happy hour always seems to find you, even when you're minding your own business. Even so, this booze-based city, for one special week during the summer, throws a very special type of party that gets its bacchanalian blood pumping just that much harder. I'm talking about Tales of the Cocktail, the greatest festival you've probably never heard of. This year, we joined All Kinds Cocktail Team at the Marriott Hotel, which comfortably situates us in the middle of the action, and even has murals that look inebriated even if you're not. An amazing amount of work goes into the event, which each year gets more and more involved. But this is truly the all-star Olympics of bar culture, so only the best is expected. After a quick orientation, everyone gets fitted for their event attire, and we're ready for a tour. Our welcome area is being presented by Perlick, who makes the Cadillac of bars for the industry. We get an in-depth lesson behind these amazing purpose-built service stations before heading into the event space. Work happens pretty much to the last minute to get this completely immersive event ready to surprise and delight guests from literally around the world. The experience begins with a purpose-built registration hall in the lobby of the Marriott Hotel. Guests get a wristband and surrender their shoes for a pair of slippers. Here, while they wait for their session to start, they can have a drink and be introduced to the best bars in the industry, the Perlick, which even if you don't work in the industry, you're going to want a picture of because they're stunning. When it's time for bed and to enter the dream world, guests are led to a staging area, where a lucky guest will attempt a perfect blind pour of 1 ounce. Rewarded with their first mixed drink if they succeed, the refrigerator magically transforms into a porthole into the dream world. Entering Dream On is completely disorientating in the best way possible. While New Orleans can seem like a city on another planet normally, this is just one more level down the rabbit hole. The main bar area is a bombardment of dreamlike visions, from mirrored floors to upside-down furniture and Synapse drinks delivery systems that will randomly surprise you with a house-batch cocktail. The room is a frenetic cacophony of surreal realities. Lights twinkling, guests all donned in slippers, and mingling among you are a wild collection of performers that may or may not be from this planet. There are a whopping 11 drinks available just at this main bar, and there are 3 whole entire bars hidden within this room that you are challenged to find. Dream On does a fabulous job of distracting you from finding them with local entertainment that will surely up your Instagram cred. From amazing live music that fills the space, to surreal performance art that looks good truly from any angle, to a rather saucy and sexually charged old-school burlesque striptease with a modern twist, you may never find the other 3 rooms. And quite frankly, that would probably be just fine. If you do, the first room you'll probably be tipped off to is behind a vintage Pepsi machine, and it's the Nightmare Room. If you ever wondered what the 80s used to dream, it was probably this. Bathed in ultraviolet light and a lightning storm of neon-painted walls, you are encouraged to grab yourself one of their crafted mind-altering drinks while confessing your worst dreaded nightmares to the wall. It's easy to get completely lost into this world, so an old-school alarm clock will ring to signal it's time to explore somewhere else. This is a genius feature to keep people moving around and discovering. Next, you probably will see folks gathering around the fireplace, which is definitely weird for New Orleans in summer. They're waiting for the botanical speakeasy room, which is accessed through a sliding panel in the wall. Inside, you're transported to a lush and verdant wonderland completely surrounded by vegetation and nature. Everything here is pretty much edible, and sounds and even smells of the rainforest are piped into you. The drinks here are a powerful omakase of the vibrant vegetal kind. Almost tonics, but definitely cocktails. They are crafted with unique unique herbs that can do some interesting things to you, like make your tongue go numb or put electricity in your teeth. Don't get too comfortable, because when the phone rings, it's wakey wakey time, and time to try a new coveted cove. The last room, and perhaps my favorite simply, is the Gold Lounge. Behind a gravity-defying wall, you'll enter the syrupy, brilliant room reminiscent of your father's basement bar/trophy room. What you'll discover is that lining the walls are over 100 bottles of the world's finest liquor, each one winning at least one gold medal for global excellence. What's more, you're invited to try anything you like while taking in the gold rays of the disco ball. This room, like my parents' basement, becomes the party at the end of the day, where diehards congregate to swap stories and tell tales. What's more, you might run into some truly academic booze wizards like Chris Hallahan from Sazerac, who can make some sense of the sea of liquor to even the most staunch noob.
Well, everything on these shelves at least has a double gold from the San Francisco Spirits Awards. Sazerac 18. This is part of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. It's won Whiskey of the Year several times as well. It's very earthy and delicious. It's about $150 retail, but most people on the secondary are selling them for like $2,000 or more. You've got George T. Stagg's 15-year uncut, unfiltered, which means it's straight from the barrel. It's preferred by like really knowledgeable bourbon drinkers to have that, because it just takes it to another level of flavor. It's the best whiskey in the world several times too. This is William LaRue Weller, and this is a 15-year uncut, unfiltered wheated bourbon. This one is actually 133.6 proof, which is super high. What that does is just it unlocks all the flavor. Straight from the barrel. It's a long-time favorite of mine, Weller 12-year. You've got earthy tones, sweet caramel, pipe tobacco, all of that kind of comes out in this. 12 years, great. 1792 full proof. The flavor is, it's unbelievable. This mark has actually won Best Bourbon in the World twice as well. A lot of awards in this lineup. They're pouring like massive amounts in there. Those are like 130 proofs.
It's called Dream On, so
yeah,
good night.
Dream on, good night.
While there are some serious heavy hitters lining the walls here, there is no doubt that the piece de resistance is located at the epicenter. This is Phoebe, a space-age piece of art that delivers an absolute perfect pour every time. And what is Phoebe dishing out? Only a dram of the rarest sips of the world, the Last Drop, whose bottles can be into the tens of thousands of dollars. This is the only liquor that is not up for grabs, but if you're lucky enough, someone might take a shine to you and quietly slip you a gold coin, which will get you a coveted taste of this extremely rare and beautiful elixir. It should be no surprise that the Gold Room is the gold standard for a good time at Tales. This room epitomizes the heart of what this event is about. Creative people from around the world coming together to learn and celebrate libation. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned pro or a casual sipper, everyone is simply welcome. In the morning after surviving a marathon of revelry and hosting happy guests, the All Kinds team meets up in the lobby for a quick champagne celebratory toast before a full day of activities.
Here's to another successful, hugely successful conference.
Heading out into New Orleans en masse, our first stop is the famous Sazerac House, where we can get a first-hand look at where this world-class elixir comes from. And if you can pry your eye away from the stunning gallery wall, you get to hear some inside knowledge about this beloved rye right from the maker's mouth. After a quick drink and cheers, we follow the Red Cock down Canal, stopping periodically for a traditional champ shotgun before reaching our second destination, the historic old Absinthe House. While this bar is a destination in its own right, with its business card painted walls and infamous smoking patio where truly anything and everything does happen, we were there for their new speakeasy, located at an unmarked door in the back. The name is Tatlo, and it offers divine cuisine and devilish drinks for the bewitched and hex-curious crowd. This all-woman-owned, self-proclaimed Filipino witch bar is an amazing immersive retreat into the dark side of New Orleans, where there are no boundaries between the living and the dead. After getting to know the owners and the philosophy behind opening a new themed bar in such a bar-heavy city, it was off to our final stop. The famous historical Court of Two Sisters, established in a whoppingly old 1832. Walking into these hollowed halls is truly like walking back into history. This is one of the original bars that established the city and its bar culture, and not much has changed in nearly the 200 years that it's been in operation. This is truly a perfect trifecta of a bar crawl for industry professionals, going from the polished event-focused Sazerac House to the clandestine Speakeasy, and rounding it out with the historic Two Sisters. You get a full picture of what's possible at the world's most famous libated city. Each night as the sun sets on the Crescent City, the All Kinds team meets up for a special dinner, hosted by some of the great label houses in our honor. It's a chance to mingle, learn, and discover what New Orleans is about in grand fashion. Our first feast is at the impeccable Fountain Lounge, located in the historic Roosevelt Hotel. Besides making world-class cocktails and an espresso martini that could wake the dead, the team got to try their world-famous fried chicken and biscuits that came out on force in hot cast-iron skillets. Our second night was at Landry's Seafood House, who arguably has some of the best fruits of the sea in all the Gulf Coast. We got to mix and mingle a bit, trading stories and tales over cold cocktails and sparkling wine, before diving into their divine dinner service, and even got to celebrate a birthday at the end of the night. Our third night had us at Brennan's, which is at the heart of the French Quarter. Brennan's is pure New Orleans from wall to floors, and the food here is second to none. In this classic setting, we had a chance to raise a glass and give a few heartfelt toasts of appreciation, bringing the room together in cheer and ending in nothing less than a riot of fun. Now, our last meal together was at Calcasieu, which is perhaps one of the best restaurants in the city. Drink in hand and courses laid out, we got to dive into their house-cured charcuterie, smoked fish, and hand-minced tartare. We even had a few surprises that night, like an impromptu wedding anniversary celebration mid-dinner that really cemented the fact that everyone on this trip is more family than friend. After an absurdly mental meal, there was of course some powerful digestivi passed around before we got handed our all-access passes to the gala events that night. It was truly about to go off. New Orleans really doesn't need another reason to party, ever. There is music literally everywhere, pouring outside from dark bars, and seemingly on every corner you'll find your new favorite band. Buried deep inside some bars, you might get to hear local legends like Shabuzi lay down some verse. Or you can simply pop into one of the hundreds of watering holes where you might find an epic twerk party, or perhaps, a 30-piece men's sea shanty choir shaking the walls to their foundations. Still though, Tales brings extra to the already raging party that is New Orleans, and these legendary parties are not to be missed. My first stop was the Rabbit Hole Party being held at the coveted BK Historic House. This Alice in Wonderland themed immersive booze fest had you tripping down the rabbit hole into several of the beautiful landmark rooms. And as it was being held in an old home, this was definitely a house party type of vibe, where everyone from the guests to the bartenders got low and got down on the dance floor, fueled by delicious cocktails on tap. Next, I happened to stumble onto the Pernod Party, which was hard to miss, to be honest. However, I absolutely adored this throwback 60s travel vibe ambiance they nurtured in one of the coolest spaces in all of New Orleans, the World War II Museum. Loud, rambunctious, and with amazing libations being rolled out, drinking under a veritable squadron of historic fighter planes is definitely an experience not to be forgotten soon. It was early, so I stopped by the Diageo party to see what was swinging. And glad I did, because this Western themed get down had a real fun crowd with lots of free swag, people with puppies, bull riding that seemed like a terrible idea, but kudos to those brave enough to try it, and even a kick-ass mirrored saddle disco ball that I now need to own. If nothing else, this was truly a feast for the eyes. My next stop, and the main target for the evening, was the Jack Daniels party. It seems like the entire Tales crew got the memo, as the line stretched well into the sunset. But the press badge definitely helped me squeak through the line and inject me into the fun fast. Inside, there was a carnival of drinking delights happening, from delicious fresh bites of southern cooking to classy roller daddies, heaven-scented smoke bubbles, and even a record art station where you got to make your very own souvenir to remember the night forever. As it is Jack Daniels, there's a ton of fun drinks to try, like nitro-infused carbonated punches, or something perhaps a little more classic like these stamped and smoked whiskey treats that are sure to get the party going strong. Drinking through it all, there's music everywhere you turn, either from you jumping on the drum set for your own personal solo, or getting down with local legends like Shabuzi, bringing the night to a whole nother level. I mean, this guy's everywhere, and he's great. For a nightcap, I unexpectedly saved the best for last, and headed to the madness that's inside the infamous Orpheum Theater. This is the Hendrix Party, and in my humblest of opinions, it was completely off the rails in the best way possible. It was like stepping into Moulin Rouge circa 1922, and given an open bar and a pass from all moral judgment on top of that. An art show, half of a rave, this party had your head on a swivel as you were constantly being pulled in every direction by Bacchus's mighty tug. An absolutely beautiful night full of amazingly beautiful fun people, properly libated and feeling fabulous from the floor to the ceiling that seemed to reach well into the heavens. This was a proper party, Belle Epoque on tap if you will, and as you climb the towering theater, you're afforded a special look at what a fire party looks like from space. Floating back down, I let the night drift away in an inebriated haze, as light and pounding music guided our bodies en masse to a rhythmic ecstasy. This was, well, let's just say a perfect way to end the tale of Tales of the Cocktail. Until next year. Looking back over this jam-packed 3 days and nights, one thing I think everyone takes away is that it's about the amazing people that you meet here at Tales that makes this event so special. It is a true celebration of libation, where friends become family, and the toasts seem to never end. Well, that is until next year, my fam. Cheers. Here's looking at you.